what is known locally as the Penrose Swamp Barrens. It's an area that goes back with me over 50 years when I hunted and fished here with my father, brother, and friends. It all began back then, but then a few years later, I had the good fortune to attend a tour of the Long Pond Barrens given by Dr. Roger Latham. And Dr. Latham mentioned a special rare plant, a type of fern. And I wasn't quite sure what it was at the time, but I told Dr. Latham that the area of the Long Pond Barrens was very similar to an area where I was from and frequented, known as the Penrose Swamp Barrens. And he thought that was very interesting. So when I came back here, I again got in touch with Dr. Latham and also Dr. Ann Rhodes. I showed them photographs of the area and they were astonished, and they said, you have to take us there and show us the Penrose area. They noticed the large amount of what is known as climbing fern or Hartford fern, and they were just thrilled to find so much here. They both said that they usually measure it in strands of 10, and here at Penrose it's in the millions, and they suspect it's the largest colony of climbing fern in the world. There were some attempts to acquire the tract, but for various reasons those efforts fell through. So fast forward 25 years to about 3 or 4 years ago, I contacted Chris Coker and Don Gorham of the Wildlands Conservancy, and they expressed interest.
Soon after that, the landowner passed away, and Mike helped get us in touch with the estate. And from there, we brought all the other partners on, and were able to get the project under contract and get all the funding together and eventually acquire the property as part of Weiser State Forest.
It's probably one of the most diverse forests we have in the Weiser State Forest now. They found over 5 Pennsylvania listed threatened species.
Penrose always was known for large deer and bears and large numbers of waterfowl. It was also known for large numbers of wild trout.
It has 3 trout streams, all of which support natural reproduction. The most surprising of which is Hazle Creek, which has been justifiably perceived as dead. Remarkably, 2 years ago, a group of us observed spawning brook trout in Hazle Creek. Everyone scurried for their cell phones because this was a phenomenal sight. And what's amazing about it is the fact that the stream was, as I said, perceived as lifeless.
Hopefully this is something that future generations can enjoy, as well as seeing that it is protecting all these wonderful natural features. It's protecting the water in this community. It's protecting the recreational opportunities.
Right now the access to this property is pretty limited, but we're slowly working on developing access points, parking areas, trail maps.
The acquisition of this property took a number of years from the time we were initially introduced to it, but we were able to bring together a great partnership to work on the property and a number of funders to the property. We couldn't have done it without all of the funding partners as well as the local people that were really pushing for this project.
It's Mike's single-minded determination that made this all possible.
I consider myself an ordinary outdoor amateur enthusiast. I'm not a biologist, I'm not a botanist, I'm not an expert in trout, but I have an amateur's enthusiasm. And I hope other amateurs out there will have the opportunity, perhaps in their local areas, to acquire and preserve special land and water that is being destroyed so rapidly today.